to RPMbassy. Now, the album I'm talking about today is, I've been wanting to do this for a while. And the reason why I haven't is because I thought they were going to do something for the 40th anniversary for this album, but they haven't. So I'm just going to do the album. The record I'm talking about, or the artist I'm talking about, is Prince. And for me, this is my favourite album by Prince. And the album I'm talking about is Around the World in a Day. Great album. So this was the 7th studio album by Prince, and the 3rd release on which his backing band, The Revolution, were involved. I think it was the final one with the Revolution. It was released on April the 22nd in 1985 on Paisley Park Records and Warner Brother Records. So this kind of departed from the somewhat rocky element of kind of Purple Rain, and saw kind of Prince experimenting more with the kind of psychedelic styles and textures. I think there's some great pop hits on here. And it was the first album to be released under his newly created Paisley Park Records, which is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. So it's basically created out successes of Purple Rain. So, I mean, he made so much money with Purple Rain. The successes of the songs, the single releases, but also bands like Vanity 6, bands like The Time. You know, he made a lot of money, so Warner Brother had faith in him, so they got him to create his own label, Paisley Park, let him have complete creative control, sign whoever he wanted, and they would back it. And Warner would fund everything. And it was a successful label. I'm not sure what other artists are on there other than, you know, the Sheila E's and the Times and the Vanity 6. But this was the first release on his own record label, Paisley Park. Prince and Revolution did work on a kind of almost like a follow-up to Purple Rain, but it sounded too much like Purple Rain, and they kind of scrapped all that and they started work on this. And supposedly, even by the time they'd done the Purple Rain tour, this album was all ready to go. So, refusing to bow down to expectations to follow Purple Rain with a very similar album, tiring of his overexposure, Prince followed a different creative direction. As I said, he opted for the more psychedelic, and he got criticised for it as well, because he was going down a completely different route. I think, you know, with any band who has a big album, a big sound, you know, especially the majors expect another version of that, or the fans expect more of what's happened before. Prince done something completely different, and because of that, it's my favourite. A lot of people did say it was a concept album, which he kind of liked the idea of. And I think all to do with the cover, which we're going to be talking about in a minute because it's an exceptional cover. And people kind of said, oh, it's very much like the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and, you know, with all these different people, there's loads of meanings. But I actually don't think there was, to be honest. I'm going to go through some of the bits of the artwork in a minute, because to me it's his favourite, my favourite sort of sleeve by him, because up to that point it was just Prince on the cover every time. So we're going to have a look at the sleeve first, and then we're going to talk about the artwork. There was 4 singles released on this as well. Raspberry Beret, which came out in... I've got the here. Reached number 25 in the UK. You've also got Paisley Park, hit number 18 in the UK. Then you had Pop Life, which hit number 16 in the UK. I'm only talking about UK because obviously I'm making the video from the UK. And then finally, America, which, to be quite honest, I didn't realise got released as a single. So I'm going to have to hunt that down. And obviously supposedly all the covers were taken from somewhere from this artwork here. But also with these singles as well, there's always tracks on it. I mean, he used to make so many tracks and many records that there's always extra tracks on these singles that, you know, weren't on any albums or anything. So his B-sides were just as important as his A-sides. I mean, a classic one is Erotic City, which was a B-side of... I can't remember, but it was the B-side, and that was a huge hit. They released that as a single, as an A-side after that as well. But all these singles got released, all of them done really well. You know, in the United States it's 2 times platinum, in the United Kingdom it's gold, New Zealand it's gold. So this did earn its right to be an amazing Prince album. I think at the time people were kind of a bit skeptical. Oh, it's not like the old Prince album, but I absolutely loved this. I mean, other tracks on this album, I think he did a track with his dad as well. So when it comes to the artwork itself, I mean, you pull it out, it's a gatefold. And over the years, I've seen so many interpretations of what this actually means, what the ladder means. And I think a lot of this stuff is in the songs. You can kind of make out your own interpretation of it. And I think that's the secret or the key with this album sleeve. It is what you want it to be. So you've got, I'm going to explain what's in the artwork here, but also if you've got an original copy, this is actually a sticker. I mean, it's quite a big sticker. It goes from here to here. So it's not actually on the artwork itself. This is a big sticker with the name of the album, the little boy floating there. The newer versions of this, or later pressings of this, didn't have the sticker, and sometimes didn't even have that at all. It just had the sleeve. So if you've got the sticker, it's an original press, believe it or not. I just wish we were able to take that off because it's a great little sticker. And I do remember when this album came out as well, is going into some of the record shops. I think they had elements of this hanging. I can't recall it when you hang it from the ceiling. It's like little elements hanging on bits of string. And I'm sure there was one of this. And I was looking at eBay to try and hunt it down, but I think it might have been a figment of my imagination. I can't remember what they're called, but they hang from the ceiling. They all hang from individual bits of string. But it was a promotional tool for this album, and I'm sure I've seen it. If anyone can back me up on that, it did exist, please let me know. Or is it just a Mandela effect? I have no idea, but I'm sure I've seen that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the artwork and what's on it in a second. But some of the tracks, and on the inside you've got all of the song lyrics inside, and I love this. You know, very psychedelic logo with all the different colours. So you can definitely go for that psychedelic kind of feel with this album. You've got tracks like Paisley Park, which is incredible. Obviously named the record label. Around the World in a Day, lovely tune. Raspberry Beret, Tambourine, what an underrated track. America, which I love, just that straight 4/4, the classic Lindrum sound as well. Pop Life, The Ladder and Temptation, very kind of different. I think The Ladder he wrote with his dad. I'm not sure which one he wrote with his dad, but one of these he did write with his dad. I think it might have been Tambourine. But every track on this album is great. I mean, you've got upbeat, you've got down tempo, you've got lyrically, it's very clever, a very clever lyrical album for sure. On the inside sleeve, it was just a paper sleeve, and the actual vinyl itself. Now, I am going to hold this properly because I have been getting loads of comments saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe you handle your vinyl like that." I've been handling vinyl for years and years and years, and they still work. But I'm going to handle it much better. See, I'm holding it by the outside. But the labels are great. Prince of Revolution, Around the World in a Day, the Paisley Park logo, and you've got Paisley pattern on this side as well. So that has never changed. But I would have liked to seen an inner sleeve. If there was a version with an inner sleeve, please let me know. Have I lost it? But I did buy this from brand new from the shop. I think it was our price I bought this from. I'm not sure. But I did rush out and get this straight away. Obviously after Purple Rain, I'm a massive fan of the 1999 album, so I was so excited to get this. So the artwork, let's talk about the artwork. Now this is the standout bit for me when it comes to the artwork. I've got some text here. So basically he was tired of having pictures of himself dominating the covers of 5 of his 6 previous albums. Prince wrote out a design brief telling 16 elements that were to be incorporated into the artwork of Around the World in a Day. Arguably producing one of the best sleeves that Prince has ever had out on any of his records for sure. The requirements included various references to the album's lyrics, an image of a silent movie era actress, Clara Bow. I'm not sure where she is, and I've been trying to find them, but I just definitely can't find out who is who. A juggling clown, a ladder rising in the pool of water leading to the cloud, a blue sky filled with fluffy clouds. I'm sure that was on a couple of sleeves as well. What else have we got in here? We've got a black baby waving the American flag. You've got doves. You've got an exotic. It says here exotic woman wearing a raspberry coloured beret. Here she is, a very exotic woman, as it says so in the text here. You've got a Russian fighter jet, a lace-wearing woman with red hair eating an ice cream, an old black male crying, a young white woman crying. I mean, there's so much to this sleeve. You know, when I was doing the research on it, I thought, wow, I didn't realise there was so much. And there are a few additional unlisted elements that were included in the finished design, such as a puppy, which is this one here, and it's believed to be actually Prince's dog at the time as well, that little puppy. And a female playing a violin. So originally the graphic artist Jim Warren proposed the initial concept, but Prince settled on the one submitted by Doug Henders, who actually did this artwork. He was a jobbing artist at the time. He was doing all the backdrops and everything for the Purple Rain tour. He initially came up with the logo as well, with the balloon and everything. I think that was the initial thing that he came up with, and then Prince went with him for the whole album. And it's definitely one of his best album covers. Now, if you haven't heard this album, you have to check it out, because a lot of people's knowledge on Prince finishes at Purple Rain. And believe me, there's some die-hard fans out there, and I know I'm going to get some comments about this album. All I can say about this album is incredible. If you have any other facts about this album, please let me know. Because there's only so much I can research, so much that I know myself. But this is my favourite Prince album, without a doubt. A lot of people assume you'd go, Purple Rain, Purple Rain's an amazing album. But it's all about this one here, which I absolutely love. And that is Around the World in a Day. Incredible artwork. You can find the original copy with the original pressing with the sticker on it, even better. I always thought it was smaller than this. It wasn't until I pulled it out and I had to listen to it. It's huge. But if you don't know the album, please go and check it out. Check out the artwork. If you've got any stories about the artwork of what it's supposed to represent, please let me know. And I know through time, I know the ladder represented something in Prince's personal life. So it'd be quite interesting to find out what that was again, because I completely forgot what that was, all about this ladder. So any information you've got about this album artwork, please let me know. So anyone else kind of watching the videos and looking at the comments can learn a bit more about this iconic album. And I'm really surprised they haven't done anything for the 40th anniversary. It's been 40 years since this album came out. Why haven't they done anything with it? Hopefully we might see something over the next few months. If we do, I shall do a video on it. But at the moment there's no news. I find nothing's happening at the moment. So I'll keep the ear to the ground. If I do, I'll do a video on it. But that is Prince, Around the World in a Day on Paisley Park Records. Thank you.